When Meghan Markle talked about how she received her first big break as an actress, she once casually called herself a fraud, not behind closed doors, not off the record, but in a happy, camera-ready moment.
I was such a fraud.
She referred to herself as the Mike Ross of auditioning, a reference to the TV character who also feigned his way into credibility. She laughed as she explained lying about belonging to the Actors Union land a role. She acknowledged that this lie technically forced the casting team to taunt her, meaning they had to submit additional paperwork just to make her appear legitimate. The clip was intended to be a quirky story, but let's face it, it was hilarious. Distinct since it wasn't just about landing a role, it was a brief glimpse into how Meghan plays the game with charm, calculation, and without hesitation when it comes to breaking the rules. Now, that brief window has blown wide open due to a flurry of receipts, rumors, and revelations that all point to the unsettling conclusion that this woman has made a living off of playing people. Lying about a SAG card is not the crime of the century, but if you look closely and trace the connections between her acting career and her royal period, you see a pattern that makes people angry. This isn't just one lie, though, it's a trail of manipulation covered in fairy lights and soft focus. Interviews. The charm attack is only effective until people begin to take notice of it,
to becoming basically a version of the royal Kardashians.
Consider the notorious litigation pertaining to the biography Finding Freedom. Meghan told the court under oath that she didn't work with the authors. But when the email leak surfaced, it became clear that she had actually contributed to writing important passages of the story. The judge described it as a very regrettable memory lapse, while others referred to it as what appeared to be perjury, but she avoided responsibility. Repercussions. For years, media outlets played along cautiously to avoid being labeled racist or misogynistic, but public opinion is starting to shift. Not just royal insiders or tabloid columnists, but regular viewers are beginning to notice the cracks in the viral story, which quietly faded as Meghan moved on to the next chapter. That's the real problem. Snippets of tone-deaf scenes. The contradictions are reminiscent of the moon bump theories, which were rejected by the mainstream media as conspiracy nonsense because they claimed Meghan used prosthetics during her pregnancies. To be fair, that's a crazy claim, but even the Daily Mail recently admitted that Meghan has a serious communication problem, which is a polite way of saying that we're not sure what to believe anymore when the audience's trust rapidly erodes when someone's personal tale is constantly changing and rearranging itself. And then there is the wedding footage. Another online craze was caused by a now viral video purportedly showing Meghan lowering her head to Princess Charlotte. Critics saw something else, a chilly sizing up look that seemed everything but maternal, despite fans' claims that it was a beautiful, respectful moment. Strengthened the argument that Meghan's outward smiles concealed a much darker side. What's more upsetting is that there are children involved, Archie and Lily, who may one day come across all of this online and question whether the version of their mother that tells stories of strength, privacy, and empowerment is the real one, or the one that has been revealed in courtroom leaks and videos where she has been caught manipulating the truth. There's a certain smugness to that makes it feel far more serious than just fun. Because Meghan is rarely named in any official capacity by the institutions, she appears to carry herself as though she knows she's playing a game that most people aren't even aware exists. Perhaps is why she's been able to get through scandals, lies, and contradictions with hardly any damage. It seems like everyone is scared to go to the palace or the press around her, even when the signs are there. However, some voices haven't been scared. YouTubers like P. Diner have been raising the alarm for years, breaking down every interview, public appearance, and contradiction, and they're not just ranting, they're supporting it all with timelines, quotes, and clips that paint a radically different image of Meghan than the one her public relations team promotes, one quote at a time. They have helped thousands of people see past the glitz and uncover the truth, and it's not pretty. Meghan is not only distorting the facts, she is creating a whole persona around them, and when the inevitable reality sets in, she uses victimization to change the story. This is a pattern when criticism comes to Meghan. She doesn't respond to it. Instead, she reframes it as, "They're attacking me because I'm a woman of color." She claims that they're after me because I speak my truth, but her truth varies depending on who she is speaking to and where she is standing. Not to mention her notorious accusation that someone in the royal family expressed concerns about Archie's skin tone, which was so shocking that it rocked the monarchy to its foundation and set off international outcry. But when Prince Harry was pressed to clarify, he retracted his statement, saying that it wasn't racism but rather unconscious bias. So, is this racist or just awkward wording? Meghan didn't seem to care. The damage was done, the implication persisted, and she moved on as usual. Next came Spare Harry's tell-all memoir, but let's be honest, it didn't read like his voice. Instead, it felt like Meghan's fingerprints were everywhere, not only in the tone but also in the way some stories are framed. One instance in particular caught my attention. Harry acknowledged using strong language with Meghan during a disagreement, to which she replied, "If you ever speak to me like that again, our marriage is over." That line was powerful due to the setup as well as the content. It seemed as though Harry had unintentionally penned his own obituary for the divorce court, which is a ruse to appear vulnerable. Others began to inquire, why would you put that in print? Why would you immortalize something that paints you as the villain in story? And influence, subtle, silent, powerful influence, was the only response that made sense. The type of impact Meghan appears to be skilled at using is the kind of power that doesn't require to yell because it's already under control. And while all of this is being played out in headlines, TikToks, and YouTube breakdowns, Harry is gradually falling apart. He appears worn out and alone. The self-assured prince who used to joke with soldiers and avoid the media with sly smiles now appears to be a man attempting to reassure himself that everything is fine, and that may be the saddest aspect of all because Meghan is planning her next move. Even while Harry may not realize it yet, he has the most to lose because she created a maze in which every path leads to her version of events, making escape appear increasingly improbable. Meghan's game has always been about controlling the narrative. And when the inevitable post-divorce book comes out, it will be written like a well-thought-out war plan that is intensely emotive and brimming with selective facts. The palace will be depicted as chilly. Catherine will be aloof, Camilla will be cunning, and Harry will be perplexed. Distressed and emotionally unavailable. It's already set up. What makes harmful is that it's hidden in plain sight. It isn't just the substance, it's also how convincing she can make it seem. She doesn't need facts to sell anything, she only needs a tone, a vibe, a few strategically placed details, and a lengthy list of how it made her feel. In the current media environment, if she has already with greater venom and fewer restrictions. Harry, on the other hand, will be the victim of both public and private opinion. He sacrificed his nation, his titles, and his reputation for someone who has demonstrated that she is prepared to distort the facts when it is convenient for her, and if he attempts to regain any of that, he will be looked down upon. In this instance, silence reads as weakness because it allows Meghan more room to construct her version of events while the palace looks on from behind lace curtains, and William is obviously prepared to draw a line in the sand. The walls are closing in and are composed of his own words, and what's worse is that no one is entering the royal family. However, if William is to lead with strength, he must change the monarchy's tone now, not in 10 years, which means removing the titles, publicly disputing myths, and reminding everyone that being born into royalty isn't a free pass. He has a king above him who still views family as sacred, even when that family is burning down the house. The saddest part may be that the kids, Archie and Leet, didn't choose any of this, but they're already in a PR storm larger than their little lives can handle because Meghan is using it to her advantage, much like a Netflix series. The longer they wait, the more ground she gains, and she's not just playing to win, she's playing to rewrite. Eventually, the internet will reveal the buried birth details and the questions no one is willing to ask on record. We'll pose those questions to them. What will happen when the version of the fairy tale they were raised with clashes with the darker theory circulating online? Meghan may be able to deceive the media, but she won't be able to deceive children indefinitely. Harry will be at the center of it, not as the villain, perhaps not even as the victim, but as the man who allowed it to happen and stayed. At some point, every game ends, every mask slips, and every lie hits a wall that it can't climb over. For Meghan, that wall may be built by ambition. For Harry, it will be built from regret, and for the rest of us, it's just a waiting game. Quiet the man who didn't protect his legacy, his truth, or his children from the storm that was building around them. Game to determine who awakens.